In this video, I'm going to take you through the process of using step 2 to practice case studies. So we're now on the step 2 page and the button has turned green, giving us a visual clue as to where we are on the site. We'll scroll down to get to the case studies area, and we can see here we have some expandable panels, each of which contains information providing supporting content relating to using the case studies, and I highly recommend that you read those sections. So to go to the case studies, we'll click this button. We can see here that selecting a case study is a two-step process. Firstly, we select the case study group, and then we select a case study from within the group. At the top right hand side, you'll notice there's a checkbox marked Show only my case studies from this group. If I tick that, only case studies which I've previously added to my case studies will be shown. This is very useful when you have case studies that you want to review independently at a later time. In the bottom right hand corner we have a colour key indicating the scores for each individual case study. So a case study with a red dot beside it indicates that we've scored less than 50% in that case study. If the dot was amber, it means we've scored less than 80%. If the dot is green, it means we've scored at least 80% in that case study. So for this demonstration, we're going to take a test on case study 4. Equally, if we just want to look at the answers of a case study, we can go straight to the answers button. So we're now on the case study page. We can see on the left hand side we have a scenario which we need to read and understand and then answer questions about. In the top left hand corner we have a checkbox which is marked Select for Review. If we tick that box, it gives us an easy mechanism to return to this question later on before we mark the test. So the case study reads, Jane is driving an articulated lorry within a busy city centre where LRTs also operate. The roads are wet and the lorry is equipped with ABS. Jane is aware of the effects of pollution on the environment and wants to do all she can to help. This is her first day back at work after having the flu. We then move on to the first question, which asks what are the characteristics of an articulated lorry. The swept path is large, the trailer follows the same path as the tractive unit, they are difficult to reverse, drivers only need a C1 licence, the semi-trailers have multiple axles. We'll select A, C and E. We'll move to the next question. Jane has to make an emergency stop to avoid a child who ran out in front of her lorry. What should she do? Select 3 options again. So, should she use cadence braking to prevent skidding? Apply continuous firm pressure to the brake pedal until the lorry has stopped? Drive on immediately after stopping? Drive on only if no person or animal is injured and no property is damaged? Call an ambulance if anyone is injured? Well, we know from the case study that the lorry that Jane is driving has ABS, so we'll say apply continuous firm pressure to the brake pedal. She should drive on only if no person or animal is injured, and of course she should call an ambulance if anybody is injured. Question 3. On her daily checks, Jane notices that the engine is running unevenly. What could cause this? So here we need to select 2 options. So a fuel pump fault, the engine is cold, an ignition fault, or the batteries need charging. I think we'll go for options A and B. Question 4. What can Jane do to help protect the environment? Again, we need to select 3 options. Drive quickly, drive smoothly, allow air pressure to build up with the engine on tick over, brake in good time, keep the rev counter in the amber band. Well, if she drives quickly, she'll reduce her journey times, so we'll try that one. She should probably also drive smoothly, and she should probably also brake in good time. Towards the end of her shift, Jane is starting to feel tired, which is unusual for her. Why might this be? Here we need to select one answer. The traffic is heavy, she has had to deal with some unhappy customers, she has not fully recovered from the flu, she has not had a chance to take her breaks. Well, we know this is her first day back at work after having the flu, so we'll select C. We can see that the next button is now grey, which means we've reached the end of the test, so we'll move over to the End Test button to see how we've done. We can see there were 5 questions in the test. We've completed 5 questions, we haven't missed any questions out, and we haven't selected any questions for review. So let's look at the results. So we can see here that out of the 5 questions, we got 3 of them correct and 2 of them incorrect. So let's have a look at the correct answers. So on question 1, we can see that our answers were A, C and E because the checkboxes are ticked. We can also see they were correct answers because each of those has a green tick beside them. Our answers on question 2 were B, E and F, and again we got all of those right. We didn't do so well on this one. Our answers were A and B. The correct answers were A and C. Again, we didn't do so well on this one. Our answers were A, B and D. The correct answers were B, C and D. And finally, we selected answer C, which was correct because it has the green tick beside it. While we're looking at the correct answers, if at any time we need more help to understand those answers, we can click the Show Explanation button, which will give a detailed breakdown explaining why the correct answer is the correct answer, and this can be really helpful if the reason for the answer being correct is not immediately obvious to you. So in summary, step 2 is about using case studies which simulate the case studies which you will see in your real DSA theory test.